Welcome to Honest Whispers Review. On this video I'll be reviewing the one and only Psylocke Gashapon figure from the Marvel Comics HG Marvel Hero Series number 3, released by Bandai back in 2005. It's based on the artwork by Jim Lee. There's no sculptor, at least the things in Japanese, but usually figures and Gashapon figures and action figures, they don't have sculptors credited on the packaging like they do on busts or statues. There's no points of articulations. So this is definitely just a figure you pose. It's almost like a mini statue due to its details and quality. I'm going to go over 5 different categories. The first category is design, which basically goes over the pose and the concept. And as you can see, a lot of details on the base. It looks like broken robot parts, mechanical parts, dynamic action pose, an iconic trademark pose of hers. Definitely not the same, but very similar pose to one of Jim Lee's artwork in the early 90s reboot. I believe it's like issue number 4 or 5, I can't remember. It's definitely under 10, but it was when she was fighting a bunch of robots with Wolverine. She was on a mission with Wolverine, and I had the same pose at this view. She didn't have her psychic knife on. Very nice design, just the way the hair is flowing, the belt, psychic knife ready to go, her the way her knees are bent and jumping. I mean, there's a lot of life to this. And the base itself is like few different parts. They all stay well, no leaning problems. The only issue I had was with this one little pipe part. It's one little small part, and sometimes it falls off, but still, it's not like completely loose where I would have to glue it or anything like that. But yeah, it comes in a few different pieces. Everything fits well. Concept, everything, it's great. I give it a perfect 10 out of 10. And as you can see on the other figures of the line, they all have different bases for their own themes. I only have Psylocke open because she's actually my favorite character from the Marvel Comics universe. That black cat is pretty cool, especially because she's kind of rare. Not too many black cat figures. Next category is sculpting, which covers the molding as well and the details or the executions. And as you can see, this is about 5 inches, especially with the arm sticking out like that. I guess other characters differ. Like I said, I haven't opened the other characters to measure, but they're all around 4 to 5 inches, especially the way that I guess you could see it here. I mean, Electra would probably be short just because she's squatting, but they're all proportionally the same, so you would expect something around that 4 to 5 inches, possibly 3 for someone like Electro who's squatting down, or even Black Cat who's on her knees. Looks like she's on the roof prowling or something, or actually she's kind of on a gargoyle, so it's like top of a building. Anyways, back to Psylocke. So the sculpting details, like I said, the base, a lot of details. Can't really figure out what she's on because it's just a bunch of trash and clutter. which that could be it as well. So still looks great. It works. It definitely a nice concept of a way to hold her up. There is a little peg that she's stuck onto. Like I said, no leaning issues. Even when I'm turning her around, she's not wobbling or anything like that. Base is pretty stable, but this is a plastic figure, so it is pretty light. Going on top, very nice details on the hair. You can see everything from the strands. Even the way it's flowing, it's I mean it's amazing work, amazing. I mean, going back to design, very nicely designed, the way it just flows naturally. Even the belt, the psychic knife looks pretty good. And just going over all of like the details, like face features, for its size, that's pretty good. Body, even a lot of costume details, like right there, the way her costume stretching between her boobs. Butt's nicely sculpted. Costumes well done. Yeah, everything's proportional. Everything looks right. Sculpting and even the transferring of the molding. I mean, it's pretty much perfect. I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 10. Next is painting. And as you can see, first off, I mean, all the colors are great. Colors are matching exactly the way it should be, down to the little squared X on her belt, just like the comics. As you can see, her eyes, they didn't color her pupils, which I'm perfectly fine with. Definitely looks like she's has her powers activated, so there's no hidden flaws. I'd rather have something like that, where it's blank pupils, rather than them trying to paint or draw pupils on something so small, because usually it comes out cross-eyed or googly-eyed. The paint quality is great. All the lines, even the way it's painted, I mean, there's hardly any lines that go over. That right there on her thigh, it's more of like a little, like a dent kind of thing, but there is a bit of, as you can see, there's a little bit of skin color that goes over it. Right there on the knee area, blues lines not straight. I mean, but I'm looking at very close details. But as far as the quality goes, even right there under her armpit, it's like blue line is not straight, kind of goes over. But overall, the quality of the paint itself is good. As you can see closer, her costume has a gloss finish. Her hair, even the psychic knife, has more of a matte finish. So she definitely stands out. Just the way the light reflects off her costume and not her hair, and even the belt has a matte finish, really makes her costume stand out more, and the figure itself, so it really has a nice shine to it. Other than those minor flaws, I mean, it could have been perfect, but for the size, it's still really done well. So I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10 on the painting. In the value, which is the fourth category, usually like these Gashapons range in retail from $5.99 to $9.99 depending on the size and the quality. And of course, with this back in 2005, it was probably more near the $5.99 range. When I bought it, it was near 2005 when I bought it. Probably like a couple years after. And back then I bought the whole set, and this around like $8.99, $7.99. It was definitely under 10, but with shipping it was over, like, just for one Gashapon figure, around $15. Now you could probably find Psylocke standalone on eBay or Amazon. Amazon's usually more expensive, but on eBay around 15, 18, with some free shipping, but usually with shipping you'll probably average around 20. So the value, aftermarket value, definitely is good on Psylocke. You could possibly fetch 20 as well, but I guess depending on your timing. But out of all the other lines, or the figures from the line, she is definitely the highest. She has the highest aftermarket value, possibly because she has the higher demand. So ironically, you could probably find the complete set for around $45–50. And if you ended up just selling these individually, other than Psylocke, you might actually get most of your money back rather than just buying Psylocke alone. So the value is definitely high for a Gashapon. I've seen other Gashapons, rare Gashapons, go over $50. Psylocke's very close, not close to that range, but she's more halfway there. So due to that, I'm gonna give the value a 9 out of 10. And counting overall, it's not a perfect overall 10, but it's definitely a close one. And that's one of the reasons why I'm reviewing this particular Gashapon figure, just because there's so much details. And believe it or not, most Gashapon figures from any themes, there's not many Marvel comics or American comics, but anything from like anime characters, there's a lot of like One Piece, Gashapons, a lot of popular anime Gashapons, and they have a lot of details. I mean, they make really good quality figures, especially for this size. I mean, quality wise, it might compete with some of the like DC Directs, like $60 statues, where there's so many paint flaws and sculpting issues where the character actually comes out looking ugly. So a lot of nice details, even to go over. I mean, you can't really see it until you start looking closely. But for this size, I mean, you could see the sculpting on her abs, the neck, her collarbones. I mean, it's not just, how you say, a simplified figure. I mean, the anatomy, it is really done well for what it is. And even the legs, as you can see, it kind of like has a little angle the way she has her legs bent, so it's not like symmetric to her planet leg or her jumping leg, the leg she's jumping off of, as you can see. So yeah, I mean, this definitely, you could even display it 360 degrees, any angle really. I mean, you could pose it next to something else where it looks like she's kind of hitting something, so even that kind of works. So definitely overall, I want to give it a 10, but I mean, because it didn't get a perfect score on the other categories, I'm just gonna have to give it a 9 out of 10. But it's definitely a close one. It's, I mean, for what it is, I mean, if we're just, I guess, comparing only through like Gashapons, not just the quality and everything itself, then it's definitely up there on one of the best Gashapons I've ever seen. Even down to her hands, like just the way her hands are painted and the fingers are sculpted. There it is. Yeah, you could see how her costumes, just underneath it, where her fingers or her thumb hole is through. Yeah, so overall, I'm gonna give this design, overall, a 9 out of 10. Well, it's definitely a close one. So, to recap, design, 10 out of 10. Sculpting, 10 out of 10. Painting, 9 out of 10. Value, 9 out of 10. And overall, 9 out of 10. Thank you for watching. Until next time.